there! Today we are gonna see the use of some arpeggios in blues. So first of all, the most important thing is that you have to know the shapes of the arpeggios. In a standard dominant or major blues, the chords are A7, D7 and E7. So we start to learn those. Now the A7 chord, the A7th arpeggio, I'm sorry, is this. A D7th arpeggio would be, and then E7th arpeggio would be. Now the first idea would be to play those arpeggios on top of the relative chords. So when the blues progression goes, and we are in A. And we play the arpeggio of A when the blues progression goes in D. And then we're back to A. E. Essentially this. Now this is all good and well, but it tends to be pretty boring after a while. So what we can do is, instead of using the arpeggios straight like on and on and on, we can break this arpeggio up a bit. The idea would be to take this arpeggio shape, but to not play this in order, but to play something like this. Maybe you are going to go on the and maybe you add also some extraneous notes like we were doing here with the C sharp for A, or maybe for D you add this E note which is not in the arpeggio of D7. This adding different notes give a bit more spice to your solo. The idea of using the arpeggios is that the arpeggios are the strong notes of the chord, so whenever you are gravitating around them, your phrase sounds perfectly in the chord. If you're using only them, on the other hand, it's a bit boring because you're just restating the chord over and over. Sounds good, but it's too much in. You want something that is a bit in and out. And that's the first idea. A second idea would be to use actually this arpeggio in a different way, so not to play a note in the arpeggios, but to use them as a signpost for the end of your phrases. So for instance, you are on an A, and you play a part of the pentatonic, and it finish on one of the notes of the arpeggios. This. As the chord changes, the arpeggio changes. So, I mean, if you're on A7, you want to target the note of the A7. If you are on a D7, you want to target the notes of the D7. So, when the chord changes, the notes you have to target change too. On A, you target the note of the A arpeggio. In D, you target the note of a D arpeggio. way you are following the chord progression and you're always sounding consistent with what the rest of the band or the backing track is doing. So the two ideas we have examined up to now were the use broken arpeggios, so just don't play the arpeggios in the order. And the second idea was to target the notes of the arpeggios, so just play whatever you want, as long as you finish on the note, on a note of the arpeggio. A third idea would be to use actually different arpeggios on the top of the chord. So if you're playing an A7, you can use something like a D7 arpeggio on top of this. Notice that this is a modified D7 arpeggio because it's a D7 here at this note, which is into A7 to curve it into the chord essentially. And you can use essentially whatever arpeggio you want, you like, on top of any possible chord. This gives you lots and lots and lots of freedom. Literally, you can use any arpeggio on top of any chord. Some of them will sound good, some others will not sound so good, of course. But it's pretty difficult to tell you which one sounds good and which one don't, for a very simple reason. We had centuries of music theory going on, and this was consistently broken by musicians. And jazz musicians in the last 50 years or so have shown that you can play literally the most dissonant arpeggio on top of any chord, and you can make it sound good if the context is fine, if the context is alright. So, point is, essentially play whatever you want as long as you like it, which is not a great indication, I know, but learn all the possible arpeggios you want. An arpeggio you really like, for instance, the arpeggio of E minor 7. And using this over A7 works pretty good. See, I just had some chord notes at the end and the arpeggio sounds in. And there are tons and tons of these possibilities essentially. So the more arpeggios you know, the more you can try to use them on top of any chord. Now, if you want to know a bit more about how to use arpeggios in blues and how to use even sweep picking arpeggios in a blues solo, you can check out my new book, which is Sweeping Blues, 101 Sweep Picking Licks for Blues Guitar.